It's reflected in this little sample that I did right behind you on the curb. So you can see the most basic application of this method. That's what we're going to do today. A chance to ask questions, have a chance to, deal with the whole milk and see what that's like. Fundamentally, pastels are dust. It's pigment and dust. More chalk that is in, a stick, less inclined it is to want to really be permanent. Well, nothing is permanent, but, lasting. So whenever you use a really light thing, for instance, if you look behind you and see those little butterflies, anything that looks light, the white especially, that's 3 layers of that because the white wants to go away. It doesn't have any pigment in it, it's just chalk. So chalk wants to go away. First, I want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable about where their spot is. So before you go away today, we can mark with some masking tape. You can walk the site together, mark with some masking tape where you think you want to be. And then that will be what is prepared for you for next Friday or Saturday when you're going to be working. So we're going to find our spots, but the locust trees are starting to drop their leaves. So if you need to have a broom, there are brooms in this shed right here. If you turn around and see the gray structure. So if you find that you need to sweep, even though she will probably be coming by with her blower, that's where you can find the brooms. Be aware that wind and sun can be problematic, especially if you're here, and especially if you're on the north side of Ludlow Avenue, because south side has shade from the buildings for most part, but north side gets full sun all day long, so protect yourself with hats or sunscreen, etc. Bring a parasol if you've got one. That can be really helpful. So come in as early as you can. Any kind of support that you need or questions that you have, what's happening with this particular festival. The streets close at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and we'll reopen again at midnight on Saturday. So that's like your safest time to be here. But if you're here on Friday working, then just be aware. We're going to try to have everybody's art as close to the curb as possible because I sent a photo that shows that the wear of the sidewalk, it gets dirty closest to the buildings, closest to the curb where people only sort of step on the sidewalk to get out of their car and to get in their car. That art stays longer because there's less foot traffic on it. So we try to stay close to the curb. But if you're working when the street is not closed, then you have some danger with traffic going by. And also this is a very busy neighborhood, a lot of pedestrians. So if you come in and the street isn't closed, we can give you some cones on either side of your workspace to let people know that there's somebody on the ground right there trying to do something. Okay.
If we like see our kits and then need more of a particular color or something, where's the best place to go buy more?
Well, I think, okay, so this is where we can start talking about, and Eve is not here yet, so I'm going to put Eve in. The chalk bag, which you have heard about, among other things like kneeling pads on the stool and bug spray. Here's something I saw yesterday when I was doing a little sample. The yellow jackets are out. They love whole milk.
Oh, great.
Yes. So I have bug spray that I don't know, I haven't tried this one yet, but if you around your milk cup were to spray, some insecticide around it, maybe that would just be enough to make them not want to go in. That doesn't mean they aren't going to go on your artwork, because they wanted to do both of those things yesterday right here. So, but you have to pretty much keep your milk cup open because, if you've ever done watercolor, you know that every other thing that you do, you dip your brush into a liquid. And so that's fundamentally what you're doing with your milk. So just be mindful, especially if you are allergic. That's something you want to be aware of. I also want to tell you about toilets because it's a long day. Upside has toilets in here. It's very easy to use those. There are 2 of them. At Biagio's, which is just down the street, there are also 2, and that's where we'll be with the chalk bank all day long. So that's another good place to go. Some of you will have sponsors that will also have, toilets. You just say, can I, for instance, graters, for instance, they've got one back there. So just know that, ask around if you don't know. Ludlow Wines also has a restroom that he'll be happy to let people go in. Happens to be my husband, Gerald Checco. You will see him. He is like on the volunteer crew doing all kinds of stuff.
To my question about where to get more chalk.
Chalk?
Yeah, last time I did it, which was probably like 3 years ago, Plaza, which I guess is on Montgomery Road. And
Well, there's one right here in Clifton, Plaza Arts.
Is there one here? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually where we ordered all of these. Oh,
It's
by,
on McMillan.
yeah. By the way, here's your coupon. If you
Yeah,
have to
they-
go buy some stuff,
they
you can
were
get
so
20% off. So pass around.
Yeah,
because,
I-
yeah, exactly right. And also, it's why we have the chalk bank. If you so check out where Biagio's is. On that side of the street and right next to Adrian Durbin Flowers, really close to the corner of Clifton Avenue. So in the chalk bank here, I mean, you can peek in and see it's all color sorted, but there's also like there's 2 layers in there.
So that'll be at Biagio's?
That'll be at Biagio's. Chalk bank is at Biagio's. I will be there when I'm not walking around seeing you guys. There are extra colors that are all valid. This gets a little chalky, but you know, for some colors it's pretty good. So we have that where we can back you up for some things, but if you know that you have a whole background of some color, it's a good idea to supplement what you bring. But we're there to help you out with what we've got. Okay, let's see.
I have a question.
Sure.
I gotta think I might be using a lot of white. You think this was basic chalk white, for board white, not like box just white.
Yeah.
Would that work for
It, three passes, 3 layers of that, and you will get that intensity of white that you see on those butterfly wings right there. So just know that if you're doing a lot of white, that's what you'll get. You might want to opt for something that has a little bit of pigment in it because the chalk wants to go away very quickly. And it's a good time to also talk to you about a couple of technical things that you'll want to be aware of. You remember that I talked about spraying to fix your work at the end. So for instance, you know, once again, I'll point at this as an example. Those marks that you can make at the end, for instance, the white, which I didn't stumble in too much. If you do final markings of color and you spritz it, we're bringing a spray bottle, make sure that you spritz it with 50% of the milk, 50% water, because if you don't, I'm going to let you look at this, if you get too much milk, and this artist spritzed with too much milk at the end of what was a really beautiful, bright design, it became, you know, completely cloudy. So you want to go really, really light. Go really, really light and let it dry completely after you spritz it. And then you could do another light spritzing, but not down on it and not with too much milk in the spray bottle.
So you just spray too much and it like wash the color off?
No. That's a film of fat, milk fat, on top of
So it created
the whole
dry
piece.
Milk over it. If you
Yeah.
spill milk and you let it dry, it looks white.
So it's a film of milk fat. So just be mindful that that is like not what you want to do at the end of your beautiful piece. I'm going to also have up at the truck bank at Biagio's Advil, sunblock, things like that. You will find after about an hour, 2 hours on pavement that maybe, you know, you're feeling a little bit achy. So if you're inclined, or bring your own kind of relief from that kind of, you know, joint pain, muscle pain, because it can be long. And you'll be on the ground for at least 4 hours. That is minimum, and I think they'll find out that you'll be there much longer than that. So, I've given you a few times, I think, the list of materials and tools that you're going to want to bring. But there you are. At each one of your workstations, this will be taped to the ground. So while you're working, maybe not for the Friday artist, but definitely all day on Saturday, you will be labeled, as will your sponsor credited. And also in the display case up on the gray building, all of you are listed as are your sponsors. So you have presence right now, so people can anticipate that something special is going to happen. Plus, that'll stay up the whole time that the artwork. I'm estimating like 2 months. It'll still be a nice public art outdoor ephemeral gallery. Please get along the curb. Everybody grab some materials, tools, and I want you to see the difference between using something with milk fat and not. So you can tell with this stripe, the pale things are the ones that did not have the advantage of the milk fat. The milk fat makes things more bright and also binds it to the concrete. These are some images from earlier festivals. You know, when the technique is done properly, it's very vibrant and really beautiful, and so I know that we will be able to achieve these things. Technical notes here, I have all of your images. I also have, finally this week, they have put together a festival map. So all of the orange squares, those are the artisan vendors that are in the middle of the street. They will be there from 8 in the morning until 7 p.m. in the evening, and then they're going to load out. But we'll be there as long as we need to be there. And the music will play until 10 p.m. Parking. So here's the thing. Our vendors, as you can well imagine, have more gear to haul in and haul out. So we have had the very generous offer of Clifton Market, which is down here on this side of the street, and it has a driveway up and down. That parking lot is first reserved for the artisans. We have 44 of them, and there are just enough spaces there if all of those artisans need to come and park. We also have golf carts that are coming, that are going to go up and down that lane to help them get up and down to unload. So we're imagining between 8 and 9:30, that's going to be super busy. So if you happen to be near Clifton Market or anything else, you're going to see just a whole lot of busyness up in that area as they're setting up. So the suggestion is that we try to find space either in the pay lot, which is right here, the merchant's lot. There's another pay lot right up next to what is now Kiki, right next to Ambar. There's another pay lot right there. And then otherwise just on the street. So if you get in here early, my advice is that you try to be kind of compact. This should suffice, this kind of a bag should suffice. If you can bring your own 12-ounce whole milk bottle, that would be great because that'll give you the thing to start with. Otherwise, I will have a gallon of whole milk down at Biagio's. So I think that you can park almost anywhere, walk in, and have what you need. If you find that you don't have, I mean, like I said, I've got these stools, I have cushions, etc. Anything to make you feel a little more comfortable while you're working, just come and see me. All of that will be at Biagio's. Questions before we get into like handling this stuff? Yeah.
Are you guys against tents at all? Not like camping tents, but like just the kind of like this tent, like a
Just like
a
a
canopy
little
to
pop-up
cover me.
tent.
Yeah, it's a 6x6. It's not big.
No problem.
Okay.
Because
it's
what
not
you're going to
big.
do, fundamentally, you're just going to occupy your space.
Literally,
Because, like
yeah.
left to right, you're pretty much 6. So you're just like a foot more on either side. I think that's. Let's have everybody pick up some white chalk over there. You see it right next to the stool. Everybody get a stick of white chalk. I've got a number of brushes here, just so you know about scale of stuff and stiffness. So you guys are probably familiar with these kind of brushes that are soft. This is like too soft. This is a really good kind of brush for flicking away any kind of crumbs that if somebody walks on your earth, they crush it and then you have like this spot of color that you didn't intend at all. So this is good for erasures, that kind of thing, flicking away. But this thing over here was done yesterday with nothing but this little stiff brush. So depending on your image, you know, you do not have to have big brushes, but if you have big spaces in your background, for instance, you know, using a 1-inch brush with boar's hair bristles is a good thing. I feel much better next Saturday, Friday, Saturday, if you have practiced this week with this stuff. to feel confident when you come up here on the street. You can just put them over there. Get my favorite brush. This is a really great project for brushes that are almost shot, but not completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really like maybe like you left paint in them.
Yeah.
They're super stiff, you know, they're garbage. But you know, it's really good for this kind of thing. Because fundamentally, you're just like scrubbing this into the pavement. This is pretty much what you're going to get all up and down the sidewalk. Don't worry about seams, you know, just kind of let them be. So, first move. Oh, and I need one more thing. Can I have a paper towel? Just right there. Yeah, paper towels. One of the things that I find really helpful is if you just start to have, it's like watercolor. You just start to have a habit of cleaning your brush regularly. So you'll want to have a rag going on. So first thing here, and I will follow through with the design from yesterday. So drawing with whatever your outline color might be. Oh, I didn't mention, okay, your white. So I started this by just like, you know, drawing these butterflies like this, just fundamentally an axis, saying, okay, it's going to be like this. So that's how you block in what your art's going to be. If you're using a grid, you bring your tape measure, you go ahead and you grid off, you know, whatever your scale is. Use this because this is going to go away. Just that little bit of rain that we had just now, you don't see any of those white marks from yesterday. That's my point about white chalk. Does not stay. So easy, it's a very easy wash off. Okay, so using white chalk to lay things out. Okay, already I'm dirty, so I'm going to, you know, wipes are great, you know, if you bring like a little bag of wipes to keep your hands clean, because later on you're not going to want to have black on everything, right? So black. So drawing with whatever your color is. Now black on the pavement first, that you will then work into the concrete, is the longest lasting thing, no matter what your design is. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and fill these in.
I just using straight milk for
Yes.
brushing in, but then we use diluted half and half milk for the spray.
For the spray over at the very
Okay.
end, yeah. Otherwise, if you don't use straight milk, you don't have the fat that you need to bind this to the concrete. And that goes for every layer that you're going to put on.
So if you just didn't do that and just did the spray, what would the effect be on the longevity?
Then it's not bound to the concrete.
So this really glues it down.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
The milk fat going into the pores of the concrete and taking the pigment with it is what gives it that longevity.
I've always been thinking about it.
It is. It's very much like a watercolor gesture where, you know, you're cleaning your brush. And the thing is, think of this really as, it's an adhesive but not an aggressive one, because it's just fat, you know, and it is at the end of the day water soluble. Okay, so this now has got some staying power. But the thing is, before I put anything next to that, if I don't want it to pick up the black, I will need to let it dry. So that's where you want to have a plan to where you go next, right? On your big design, because your big design is bigger than 8 inches square. So you just kind of keep it moving forward. Now, also, there is going to be pastel and charcoal dust that stays dry that you want to be mindful of. So either you will blow that away. Let's see what happens if I blow on this right now. Okay, it seems to be okay. There seems to be a little bit of collection there, but it's okay. Okay, so what shall I do while I'm sitting here and not being able to do anything? Any questions beyond that? Because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with yellow. Once again, just like the black, I'm going to apply my chalk directly to the concrete. And you treat all of these first marks on the concrete like you would underpainting. I was thinking about painting. So you put enough on there that you feel like, I mean, you start to have a feeling for it. You put enough on there that you feel like once the milk goes on there, that's going to be a good foundation. So for instance, this right here, that was just one coat of yellow and then some white to give it just a little bit of variation. Okay, after you get your underpainting layer down where you've got some pigment, you have intentional pigment on the concrete, so you're in, you can work on too wet. It's best to, before you add more, I mean, unless you're going to try to do some kind of a shading, variegation, you can go right ahead and work dry, so dry marking on a wet field, and you can blend that. I mean, so for instance, so here, for instance, I worked the pink out here, the blue in here, and I put those into the concrete first, but then when I put on the white, then I just started working all of that all together. So you'll get a feeling for it, what the tolerance is. If you ever do something that you really feel like you screw up, use a, just give me any brush or the thread. So for instance, yesterday, I made some black marks that I didn't really like. Let's just say I do this and I say, you know, that's not going to be good. So have an eraser brush and just water. Can I have one that has more bristle, please? Because this is the kind of thing where you really kind of want to wash it up. So you want to really be able to wash away. So this is just water. You're going to go ahead and just like really douse it until you feel like you have lifted that mark out of the concrete.
And then you can just take your rag basically.
And then you block. Yeah. Then you block. And then that's not going to bother you anymore. And so you do that all through your work. If something happens that you really that you really got to get rid of, that's easy. Just wash it off. Okay.
How long does it stay like wet in order for you to be able to do wet into wet?
Well, I tell you what, the people that are on the north side of the street, it's going to dry very fast.
Okay.
Very, very fast. So, I mean, and you'll get, you know, you'll kind of feel that. But also, if it's a windy day, that's also going to dry very fast. So you're just going to have to like work with the weather conditions. But so, okay, you just talked about putting something on top of a dried surface there. So yeah, I went ahead and drew, you know, some more chalk. So yeah, working dry on top of dry, it's going to be like a more dramatic. You'll get to a point where you don't need to wash your brush. The only time that I wash my brush between every stroke is when I've got black on it. Something that I really know that I don't want to have infecting the other colors that are around it. Okay, so this is wet, but I'm going to go ahead and use the milk on this. This is another way to blend colors. So you put down your colors that you know you want to blend in the shape. I'm going to see if I can do the gradation first between one and the other. And then I'll go into the things that I want to stay fairly pure.
Can we all say blending materials? That you said pool noodle? Can you say more things like that?
So there's a bunch. I like, but this is a very different technique because you're using wet to blend, but you know how I use it is it's either cut up pool noodles. Those are really good to blend. You can use packing foam, but blender like pool noodles I find work really well. I really like, there's a pack of like nitrite gloves that are very like durable. Like normal surgical gloves will tear really easily, but I found them on Amazon, these black nitrite gloves. I usually only have to change them 2 or 3 times. Cases, even chalkboard erasers are great, so you can push the chalk around with them. Like I know it's kind of Like it sounds contradictory, but you're actually spreading it really well with the chalkboard eraser.
This is an example. I did the body and the
move off
antenna
the extra
with
dust
2
and
passes of black,
spackle,
and this is a
then
single pass of black.
6x6 stamp.
And then how many passes with the milk brush would you do?
I say, listen,
Just
that's a
one.
great
Just the way that I did
idea.
this, we're just I'm
Okay.
tracing. I'm tracing with a fine brush, letting it dry, and so yeah. When you're doing line work, it's the thing that is most difficult, I think, to control with the line work is the dust. I mean, as you just saw with this, you know, the dust can kind of spread. Means that maybe your line is going to be wider than you intended it to be. Then you just kind of go with it. You know what I mean? It depends on your brush and also
the size you go up, then
how
it's
the
gonna
milk
get some
spreads the charcoal.
Wait.
Did you say it lasts like 2 months?
This can last for 2 months in the right position on the sidewalk and with the right weather conditions. So first of all, we put it near the curb so feet don't wear it down. And if there's not too many downpours, it can resist all of that. It can resist the rain because of the fat.
Is this milk already mixed with water?
No, this is the straight 100% whole milk, and that's what we use while we're connecting to the concrete.
I've worked with
And that doesn't leave a film?
No, because fundamentally, I mean, that's just diluting your powder. You're just diluting your powder and you're binding it to the concrete with that first 100% straight milk. That looks about right. I mean, you know, so I can say we reserve this for you. Okay.
So how should we place the images? Does it?
That's up to you, right? Take a snapshot now because you're going to see where all of your seams are. And if you feel like you want to work with that, then you can, okay? And if not, you can also ignore it because you can look at some of the images I brought of past chalk works where they just completely ignore that there's a seam there, you know. Remind me when we get back to everybody. I want to remind everybody just in terms of safety. Have something that has a pocket to put your phone in and your car keys and whatnot because you're in public. People are walking by. You know you're not paying attention. It's very easy to get pickpocketed while you're out there all day long. Telling you what. Telling you what. This is what we. So I'm with the community council, and every fall when the students come back to school, they make a point of lecturing the whole audience, tell the students not to have earbuds in, to keep their things in their pockets, inside pockets, because young people are a very easy target. And you know, there's nothing worse than having your phone stolen, your credit cards, all of those things. I mean, it really can be like catastrophic for a kid. So, that would be fun because you have lots of opportunities to use that in different ways. And they can be facing this way or they can be facing this way. But as long as it's readable from the pedestrian.
Question about coming the night, the day before. Is there a certain time that we have to come on that Friday? Or
no, just be aware that the street will not be closed, and so you know you'll be okay if people are parking here. You're pretty safe. We can give you a couple of orange cones that we would put on either side of you, but you're going to want to not feed too much your body in the pedestrian passageway because it's a really busy lot of pedestrians, especially on Friday. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, I would if I were coming on a Friday, I put my cones up right here and there, and I would try to pretty much stay over here. much as possible what I lay out. I would stay as close as I could, like out of the way of the foot traffic. And then Saturday when the horse train is closed and people are walking out there and a little bit here, then you have less worries.
See my son coming down the road, coming down the road. I see my son.